Have you ever thought about the possibility that one of the vegetables in your kitchen right now, which you eaten your whole life thinking it's healthy, could quietly increase your risk of a stroke overnight? No warning, no pain. You're feeling fine before bed, but when you wake up, your speech might be slurred, your balance could be off, or you might not be able to move one side of your body. As a brain doctor with years of experience working with elderly patients, I've seen far too many seniors who trusted certain foods thinking they were good for their health, only to find out they were more harmful than helpful. And yes, I'm talking about vegetables. Yes, vegetables. When you hit 60, the foods that once helped your body could actually start to hurt you. But why? The answer lies in how your body changes with age. Your kidneys slow down, your arteries become stiffer, and your body processes sodium, sugar, and minerals differently. When this balance is thrown off, it can lead to strokes and blood clots, sometimes even overnight. In this article, I'll share 7 common vegetables that, if you don't know how to prepare them properly, could be doing hidden damage to your brain, affecting your circulation, and possibly threatening your independence. Stick with me, because the information you're about to learn could save your life. Before we get started, I recommend you click the subscribe button and hit the bell so you won't miss more important health tips like these. If you enjoy the video, leave a comment below and let me know what you think. And now let's dive in. The first vegetable on our list is spinach. It hides a secret danger in the form of vitamin K. If you're over 60, you've probably been told that spinach is one of the healthiest foods on the planet. You've heard it since you were a child. Eat your greens, they're good for your heart. It's true that spinach is packed with nutrients, but what if this healthy green vegetable that's supposed to protect your brain and heart actually increases your risk of a stroke in the middle of the night? I know it sounds unbelievable, but as a brain doctor, I've seen it happen more often than I'd like to admit. Spinach is loaded with vitamin K, which plays a crucial role in helping your blood clot properly. When you're young and healthy, your body handles vitamin K without any issues. But as you get older, especially after you turn 60, your body starts changing in ways you might not even notice. Your liver processes medications more slowly, your blood vessels become stiffer, and the risk of developing clots increases. Many people over 60 are prescribed blood thinners like warfarin or Coumadin to prevent clots from forming. Here's where the problem starts. Vitamin K directly counteracts the effects of these blood thinners. So if you eat a lot of spinach, like a big salad or a spinach smoothie, or add it to your dinner as sauteed greens, you could be interfering with the medicine you've been prescribed. Suddenly, the blood thinner won't be as effective. Your circulation slows down and the blood thickens. Tiny clots start to form, just like sand collecting at the bottom of a stream. You won't feel it, but it's happening. Eventually, one of those clots could reach your brain, and that's when things go wrong. You wake up with slurred speech, blurry vision, or paralysis on one side of your body. Without any warning, a stroke hits, and it happens silently almost. Overnight, Mr. Allen, a retired engineer from Wisconsin who was 74, was a kind, compassionate man with a sharp wit and warm eyes. I'll never forget how important it was to take his medication as prescribed each night and start every morning with a green smoothie made with spinach, kale, and avocado. He did this because he wanted to live a long life and stay strong for his grandchildren. For several months, he was in great health. But one morning, his wife found him lying on the kitchen floor, his right side paralyzed and his lips trying to form words that wouldn't come out correctly. A scan revealed a blood clot in his left middle cerebral artery, a type of stroke that left him temporarily unable to speak or move. Blood tests showed his coagulation levels were dangerously high. There was no problem with his medication. Instead, the greens he had been consuming, believing they were helping him, had caused an excess of vitamin K. That's right. It's terrifying to think about. It wasn't junk food or bad habits causing the issue. It was something he had consumed for decades, believing it was good for his health. But after 60, even healthy foods can become dangerous if you don't understand how they interact with your aging body and any medications you're taking. So if you're on blood thinners, make sure you consult your doctor and get advice on how much leafy greens to consume. Don't go on a spinach salad spree after avoiding them for a week. Never drink large spinach smoothies without checking your INR levels first. Your brain needs consistency, just like your heart needs balance. Too much vitamin K at once can tilt that balance, leading to clots no one sees coming. You might be thinking, if spinach can do this, what about other vegetables that are also considered healthy? That's where things get even more concerning, because the next vegetable on our list doesn't make your blood thicker. It can cause your blood pressure to drop so low overnight that your brain can't keep up. Let's talk about that. If you're still watching and finding this information useful, please leave a comment below to let me know that you agree with me. Now, let's move on to the second vegetable, beets. You've probably heard that beets are great for your heart, help open your blood vessels, and improve circulation. If you're over 60, you might even drink beetroot juice every morning, thinking it's a natural way to lower your blood pressure and keep your brain sharp. But here's the truth. Beets can quietly push your body into a dangerous imbalance that can trigger strokes and lead to deadly blood clots while you sleep, something most doctors won't openly say. This is especially true for older people who are already on medication to control their blood pressure. You see, beets contain high levels of nitrates, which turn into nitric oxide in the body. Nitric oxide helps relax blood vessels and lower blood pressure, which is great for a younger body that can adjust quickly. But as we age, the balance between blood flow and blood pressure becomes more fragile. Over time, our arteries become stiffer and our hearts don't pump as forcefully. As a result, the brain struggles to keep up with changes in blood pressure, especially if it drops suddenly. The formation of lethal blood clots can happen quietly even while you're sleeping, something that happens often with older adults. Celery, often considered a healthy snack, is actually a natural diuretic, which means it helps your kidneys release water and sodium more quickly. At first glance, it seems like a positive thing because it helps lower blood pressure and reduces bloating. However, once you reach the age of 60, your body doesn't handle fluid control the same way it used to. Your blood vessels become stiffer, your kidneys filter blood slower, and your brain becomes heavily reliant on maintaining stable hydration levels to ensure proper blood flow. A problem arises when you lose too much fluid, as it causes your blood to become thicker, more like syrup than water. That's when the risk begins. Picture this: you've taken your nightly blood pressure medication or diuretic, you've snacked on a few celery sticks, and now you feel healthy enough to go to bed. But while you're asleep, your body continues expelling fluid, and since you're not awake to drink water, your blood volume gradually decreases. As a result, circulation slows down and the oxygen your brain receives also drops. Slowly, small blood clots begin to form in the thicker, slower moving blood, usually in the small veins, supplying the most sensitive areas of your brain. When morning comes, you might wake up feeling dizzy, with your balance off and your speech jumbled. In the worst cases, you may not wake up at all. Let me share the story of a patient named Mr. Raymond, an 82-year-old retired carpenter from Florida. He loved eating celery sticks dipped in peanut butter every night before bed. He also took a modest diuretic to help control his high blood pressure. One morning, his wife came home to find him slouched in his recliner, unable to move his left arm. A scan showed that he had suffered a small but life-altering ischemic stroke. His blood sodium levels were dangerously low, and he was severely dehydrated. His blood had thickened significantly. The perfect storm had been brewing for weeks, but he never noticed. Dehydration is one of the least recognized stroke triggers in older adults, and it can happen without the usual signs of excessive heat or physical activity. Even something as simple as eating too much celery combined with age and medications can lead to this dangerous situation without any obvious symptoms. The thickening of the blood makes it harder for it to flow freely, causing it to clump together. During this time, clots begin to form, silent, unnoticed, and powerful. Celery isn't a bad food at all, but it needs to be respected. If you enjoy it, eat it earlier in the day and make sure to hydrate with water and electrolytes. Avoid consuming large quantities of celery at night, especially if you're on medication for high blood pressure or diuretics. Also, if you find yourself waking up frequently to urinate or feeling dizzy in the morning, your body may be signaling that it's losing too much. fluid. Don't ignore this sign. It's your brain silently calling for help. Because once your balance is off, even something as harmless as water can become a danger to you as you age. If you think celery is the only healthy vegetable with a hidden downside, wait until you hear about the next vegetable on the list. It's a leafy green so popular that it's been dubbed a superfood. But as healthy as it seems, it has the potential to quietly suppress your thyroid, slow down your brain, and pave the way for a stroke, all without any noticeable symptoms. The dangers of this vegetable are even more alarming because many people don't realize how harmful it can be. I would appreciate it if you could use the first comment section below to let me know that you're still watching and that you find these insights I am important. As we move on, let's continue with point number 4. The secret thyroid suppressor is kale, which is number 4. Kale has become one of the most prized health foods of our time. It's everywhere, in every supermarket, smoothie bar, and anti-aging cookbook. It's promoted as a miracle vegetable full of vitamins, fiber, and antioxidants, all of which supposedly help keep you youthful and protect your heart. But what if I told you that this so-called superfood could quietly disrupt your body's delicate balance, slow down your brain, and even create the ideal conditions for blood clots, leading to strokes? Would you be interested in hearing that? The reality is kale itself isn't harmful. It's the lack of understanding that makes it dangerous. As we age, our bodies become more vulnerable, our metabolism slows down, our organs work harder, and it becomes easier to upset our hormone balance. Kale contains natural substances called goitrogens, which can interfere with how your thyroid uses iodine. If your thyroid slows down even just a little, your metabolism will slow, your cholesterol can rise, and your circulation may shift. Over time, your blood thickens, your arteries become stiffer, and the oxygen your brain gets becomes less stable. I've seen this happen many times. Seniors thinking they're eating for longevity are unknowingly setting themselves up for vascular issues. One such patient was Mrs. Clara Hughes, a 76-year-old from Oregon. She had a morning routine that consisted of a raw kale smoothie, kale, spinach, almond milk, and protein powder. She proudly told me this was what all the health blogs recommended. For a while, she felt great, but eventually she started feeling exhausted, had trouble focusing, and began gaining weight. Our right hand became weak and uncoordinated, but she brushed it off as a normal part of aging. That is, until one afternoon, she slipped in her garden. Her thyroid hormone levels were dangerously low. Her cholesterol was high, and scans showed that she had experienced a mild ischemic stroke. A blood clot had formed in one of the arteries supplying oxygen to her brain, and it all stemmed from years of drinking those raw kale smoothies. The thyroid suppression caused by kale combined with blood thickening from a slower metabolism was the underlying cause. This didn't happen overnight, but when the balance shifted, it happened quickly, altering her life forever. I really wish more seniors understood this. Just because something seems harmless doesn't mean it's healthy. Your body at 70 isn't the same as it was when you were 40. Even foods that used to be beneficial to you can start disrupting your hormones, medications, and blood flow in unexpected ways. When your thyroid slows down, your blood doesn't flow like it should. It gets thicker, slower, and more prone to clotting over time. And those clots, which you can't feel, may strike without warning, even if you love kale. That doesn't mean you need to completely cut it out of your diet. Just be cautious. To minimize the goitrogenic effect, it's best to cook kale gently. Avoid drinking raw kale smoothies every day, and if you do, be sure to balance it with other foods. Also, it's important to get your thyroid checked regularly, especially if you're experiencing symptoms like sluggishness, feeling cold, or gaining weight unexpectedly. At the end of the day, it's all about understanding how our bodies change as we age. Just because a food is marketed as a superfood doesn't mean it's always right for you. Keeping a balance and staying informed about how your diet and medications interact can help you stay healthier longer. Fogginess increased over time. This is because as you age, your margin for error narrows, and sometimes even a superfood can turn out to be a hidden danger. Kale may be vibrant green, But when it subtly interferes with your thyroid, it sets off a chain reaction that slows down your blood flow, increases your cholesterol, makes your arteries sticky, and can eventually lead to the kind of clot that robs you of your ability to speak or your memory overnight. And if you think kale is the worst hidden danger in your kitchen, you might be shocked to learn that the next vegetable, something as simple as canned corn or green beans, sitting in your pantry, can raise your blood pressure, stiffen your arteries, and set the stage for a stroke even before you taste the salt. Canned vegetables are the sodium bomb, and they come in at number 5. For many retirees in the United States, canned vegetables are a symbol of comfort and simplicity. They remind you of home-cooked meals, of dinners from your youth, and the feeling of having a well-stocked pantry. After all, vegetables are healthy, right? But what most elderly people don't realize is that hidden inside those cheerful labels and catchy slogans lies one of the most overlooked and dangerous threats to your brain and heart. This danger doesn't announce itself with pain or warning until it's too late. Many canned vegetables are loaded with salt, preservatives, and chemicals that don't just raise blood pressure quietly, but also put a strain on your arteries and over time increase the risk of strokes and blood clots that can be fatal. How does this happen? As we get older, the elasticity of our blood vessels decreases. The walls of the arteries, which used to be flexible and able to stretch and contract, become stiff, much like old rubber. At the same time, our kidneys, which once efficiently filtered out excess salt, begin to function less effectively. So when an elderly person consumes a can of green beans, corn, or soup that contains between 700 and 900 milligrams of sodium per serving, that salt doesn't just disappear, it accumulates and causes a significant shift in the body. This excess sodium draws water into the bloodstream, making the blood thicker and exerting more pressure on the walls of the vessels. Over time, this triggers a chain reaction. Tiny cracks start to form in the lining of the arteries. As the body tries to repair them quickly, blood clots begin to form. You won't feel it. You won't even know it's happening. But inside your arteries, a silent battle is taking place with high pressure and restricted space fighting against each other. And all it takes is one small clot or a blocked artery. And within seconds, everything you know, your memory, your speech, your independence, can be taken from you. I'll never forget Mr. Thompson, an 80-year-old widower from Michigan. After his wife passed away, he began relying on canned meals for their convenience. His go-to comfort foods were canned vegetables, soups, and beans. He would tell me, "These are vegetables. I can't be harmed by them." But over time, his blood pressure crept up, reaching as high as 180, 160, and 170. He seemed okay at first, perhaps a little fatigued, but nothing too alarming, until one morning his daughter found him in the kitchen, staring blankly and unable to speak. He couldn't communicate with her. A scan revealed that he had suffered a moderate ischemic stroke. The walls of his arteries had thickened and constricted over time. The sodium he'd consumed regularly from canned vegetables had contributed to his high blood pressure and weakened arteries, triggering the stroke. This is a powerful reminder of how something as seemingly innocent as canned vegetables can pose a real threat to your health, especially as you get older. If you have high blood pressure or are at risk for a stroke, it's essential to be mindful of your sodium intake. When buying canned vegetables, look for options with low or no added salt and make sure to balance your diet with fresh, whole foods. Remember, convenience should never come at the expense of your health. Be aware of the silent dangers that may be lurking in your pantry. Significantly buy potatoes, then buy many sugary foods. And this is especially dangerous for older adults. Potatoes, whether mashed with butter, baked with sour cream, or fried to golden perfection, are a comfort food staple, bringing feelings of warmth and tradition to the table. But for many elderly individuals, this beloved vegetable has become one of the most dangerous foods they consume. As a doctor who has spent decades studying strokes, I can say with confidence that potatoes are a hidden sugar bomb in disguise. Despite their innocent appearance, they can silently trigger strokes and contribute to the formation of blood clots in aging bodies that no longer metabolize sugar the way they used to. Potatoes are essentially pure starch, and once they enter your mouth, they are rapidly converted into glucose. This spike in blood sugar can be more significant than what you might experience from eating sweet treats. When you consume a potato, especially in large quantities or in certain preparations, your blood sugar levels rise quickly. For older adults, this is particularly concerning because as we age, our ability to manage blood sugar becomes impaired. When blood sugar spikes rapidly, it can trigger a series of reactions in the body that lead to dangerous health problems, including blood clot formation. The reason why potatoes pose such a risk is that when blood sugar levels rise quickly, the body responds by increasing the production of insulin, which is necessary to regulate glucose levels. Over time, however, this can lead to insulin resistance, a condition where the body's cells no longer respond to insulin effectively. As a result, blood sugar levels remain elevated, which increases the risk of inflammation and clotting in the blood vessels. This can cause the blood to thicken and become more likely to form clots, which is a significant risk factor for strokes. What's worse is that the blood vessels in elderly individuals are already more rigid and less flexible, making it easier for these clots to form and cause a blockage. When a clot forms, it can travel to the brain and block blood flow, leading to a stroke. This can happen without warning, and many seniors are unaware of the dangers they are exposing themselves to by eating seemingly harmless foods like potatoes. It's important to recognize that while potatoes are often considered a healthy food, they can be harmful when consumed in excess, espec. Ideally for those with underlying health conditions such as high blood pressure or diabetes. The key is moderation. If you love potatoes, it's important to eat them in smaller portions and try to balance them with other foods that have a lower glycemic index. Consider choosing sweet potatoes or other root vegetables that have a more gradual impact on blood sugar. And be mindful of how potatoes are prepared. Frying them or adding excessive butter and cream can make them even more dangerous. In conclusion, potatoes may seem like a harmless comfort food, but they are a hidden danger for older adults, particularly those with conditions like high blood pressure, diabetes, or insulin resistance. By understanding the risks and making informed choices, you can reduce the likelihood of stroke and other health issues related to blood sugar spikes. Keep in mind that small changes in your diet, like reducing potato intake and opting for healthier alternatives, can make a big difference in maintaining your health as you age. Your brain, until one day they cause a blockage that can change everything in an instant. A single clot formed silently over time can cause you to lose your ability to speak, move, or even remember. This is what happened to Mrs. Linda Morris, a 70-year-old grandmother from Ohio. She believed she was eating a healthy diet, but the daily baked potatoes she had with her meals, though seemingly innocent, was slowly raising her blood sugar levels in a way that was dangerous for her aging body. Despite her efforts to avoid junk food and sweets, this simple, comforting vegetable had been quietly contributing to chronic sugar spikes in her system. Linda's blood sugar levels spiked after every meal, even though she thought she was making the right choices. One afternoon, while sitting in her chair and reading to her granddaughter, Linda suddenly lost her grip on the book and slumped over. She couldn't respond or move her right side. A CT scan confirmed that an ischemic stroke had occurred due to a clot in her left middle cerebral artery. Her blood test revealed high levels of inflammatory markers and thickened blood. These were the direct result of years of eating what she thought were healthy potato meals, unknowingly contributing to chronic blood sugar surges that silently damaged her vascular system. This is a painful truth for many seniors. As we age, our bodies no longer handle metabolic shocks like they did when we were younger. Each rise in blood sugar makes the blood more viscous, which increases the rigidity of our arteries. This creates a cycle of inflammation that makes it easier for blood clots to form. Even mild insulin resistance, which is common after the age of 60, can turn every serving of potatoes into a dangerous biochemical roller coaster for the body. A plate of potatoes can trigger a surge in blood sugar that the body struggles to manage, leading to thicker blood, stiffer arteries, and ultimately an increased risk of stroke. So if you enjoy potatoes, it's important to exercise caution. Avoid eating them in large quantities, especially by themselves. Pairing them with a protein, fiber, or healthy fats such as chicken, beans, or olive oil can help slow the absorption of sugar. It's best to avoid eating baked potatoes, French fries, or instant mashed potatoes without a proper balance. If you're looking to reduce the sugar spike from potatoes, try substituting them with sweet potatoes, which release sugar more gradually into your bloodstream. It's crucial to remember that because a food is classified as a vegetable, doesn't mean it's always risk-free, especially when it comes to blood sugar management. High blood sugar levels can cause your blood to thicken, and when blood becomes more viscous, it's more likely to form clots. These clots may stay hidden, silently building up over time until they cause a stroke or other serious health issue. By understanding the risks and making small adjustments, moderating your potato intake, you can help protect your health and reduce the chances of blood clots forming in your arteries. Always keep in mind that every little decision you make regarding your food can impact your long-term health. What might seem harmless now could be setting you up for problems down the road. Couple in their late 70s who loved pickles and fermented vegetables. They believed these foods were a healthy part of their diet, especially since they had heard about the benefits of probiotics for gut health. Every meal was accompanied by a serving of pickles, sauerkraut, or kimchi, a tradition they had kept for years. One evening, after a dinner where they enjoyed their usual pickle accompaniment, Mr. Carrollburr suddenly felt faint. By the time his wife could help him, he had lost his balance and his speech was slurred. An ambulance rushed him to the hospital, where a CT scan revealed he had suffered a stroke due to a blood clot blocking a vessel in his brain. The doctors discovered that his arteries had become rigid and inflamed, a result of years of consuming high-sodium foods like pickles, sauerkraut, kimchi, and other fermented vegetables may seem innocent, even healthy but they can be a double-edged sword. The salt content in these foods is extremely high, often 800 mg or more of sodium serving, which is more than a third of your daily recommended intake. This concentration of salt draws water into the bloodstream, making the blood more viscous and putting extra strain on the heart. For younger adults, the blood vessels can expand and contract to handle this added pressure, but for seniors, especially those in their 60 seconds and beyond, the arteries become stiffer and more fragile. The lining of the blood vessels becomes thinner, more delicate, and more easily irritated by the increased pressure from the salt. Over time, these irritants can cause tiny wounds in the arteries. The body attempts to repair these wounds by sending platelets and fibers to form protective patches. However, instead of healing, the areas become sticky and uneven, providing an ideal environment for blood clots to form. This process happens slowly and silently without any noticeable symptoms until one day, usually during the night, a clot breaks loose and travels to the brain, causing a stroke. The symptoms can happen suddenly: slurred speech, loss of balance, or vision loss, all of which can occur within seconds. But that's not all. The acidity in pickles and fermented vegetables caused by vinegar or lactic acid can also lead to silent reflux, especially in older adults. While the burning sensation from reflux tends to decrease with age, the condition can still affect the body in more subtle ways. During sleep, small amounts of acid from the stomach can travel up into the esophagus and even into the airways, irritating the vagus nerve. This nerve controls heart rate and blood pressure, and when it becomes irritated, it can cause fluctuations in blood pressure that can be unpredictable and dangerous for older adults. These fluctuations put additional stress on the already fragile arteries in the brain, increasing the risk of stroke. I'll never forget Mr. and Mrs. Carroll's story. They had always believed that pickles and fermented vegetables were part of a healthy diet, but over the years, these seemingly harmless foods had quietly contributed to Mr. Carroll's stroke. The combination of high salt and acid in pickles, along with the natural changes that occur in the body as we age, had created the perfect storm. It's a powerful reminder that even foods we think are healthy can have hidden risks, especially as we get older. If you love pickles or fermented foods, it's important to exercise caution. Limit your intake. and be aware of how much salt and acid you're consuming. If you have high blood pressure, circulation problems, or are at risk for a stroke, try to avoid eating large amounts of pickles or sauerkraut. Instead, look for lower sodium versions of these foods, or consider making your own at home where you can control the amount of salt. And if you do eat pickles, pair them with foods that can help buffer the effects of salt, such as whole grains or leafy greens, and drink plenty of water to help flush excess sodium from your system. Ultimately, maintaining a healthy diet as we age isn't just about choosing foods that seem healthy on the surface. It's about understanding how those foods interact with our aging bodies and how they affect our overall health. While pickles and fermented vegetables may seem like harmless additions to your meals, they can have a much more significant impact on your brain and heart than you might realize. Be mindful of the hidden risks in your kitchen, and remember that even the most comforting foods can be dangerous if consumed in excess. Before heading to bed each night, Mr. and Mrs. Carroll, a couple in their late 70s, shared a quiet ritual: a small snack of pickles, a handful of pretzels, and a glass of water. It was their way of winding down a comforting daily tradition. But one morning, Mrs. Carroll awoke feeling lightheaded and nauseous. Her husband, pale and weak, slumped beside her, unable to respond or move. Both were showing signs of severe dehydration, salt imbalance, and high blood pressure. When they were rushed to the hospital, Mr. Carroll was diagnosed with a moderate ischemic stroke, the result of the combination of sodium-induced blood thickening and pressure spikes during the night. His arteries, already aging, simply couldn't handle the strain. This is the harsh reality of certain foods. While they don't kill you instantly, they gradually wear down your system, causing subtle imbalances that can eventually lead to a stroke when you least expect it. The sodium in pickles draws water from your cells, the acid irritates your nerves, and the nighttime combination slows your circulation. All these factors create the perfect storm for a stroke, setting the stage without you even realizing it. Now, I'm not suggesting you should completely give up fermented foods if you enjoy them, but it's important to exercise caution. Choose varieties that are low in sodium, consume smaller portions, and avoid making them part of a nightly routine. Hydrate well throughout the day and aim to keep a steady, balanced diet. When your blood becomes thicker and your arteries stressed, even a single pickle can become the tipping point your body can't handle. And if you think that's the end of the hidden dangers in your diet, think again. The most alarming thing about the foods on your plate isn't any one of them, but rather how all work together to subtly conspire against your brain. In a moment, we'll reveal the deeper reality of how healthy behaviors can unknowingly trigger stroke risks, and what you can start doing now to safeguard your mind, your balance, and your independence for years to come. It's clear that as we age, our bodies change, not just how we look or feel, but also how we process even the simplest foods. Veggies you once thought were harmless might, under the wrong circumstances, become silent saboteurs to your health. This truth can be painful, but it's also powerful. Once you understand how your body has changed, you'll be able to protect it. Your blood vessels aren't as flexible as they once were. After 60, they're fragile channels that need careful attention. Your kidneys no longer filter as efficiently, and your liver processes medications more slowly. Your brain, an incredible organ, relies on a delicate rhythm of oxygen and circulation, which can be disrupted by every bite and sip you take. Fear is not the issue here. Awareness is. When blood thickens due to dehydration, excessive sodium, or sharp fluctuations in blood sugar, it becomes sluggish and sticky. And once clots form, a single moment can change everything you hold dear. Your freedom, your speech, and your memory can be taken from you in an instant. But here's the good news. The same knowledge that reveals these risks can help save your life. You don't have to give up the foods you love. Just meet them where your body is today, not where it was 40 years ago. Enjoy vegetables, but strike a balance. Keep your sugar under control, minimize your salt intake, and stay consistent with your hydration. Avoid eating heavy snacks late at night, cook your greens lightly, and always consult your doctor about what you're eating. Your food and your medications are having a conversation in your body. Whether you realize it or not, trends don't matter when it comes to health at this age. What matters is knowledge. You've lived long enough to know that clarity is key. Your body is speaking to you, and it's time to listen. Take care of it with understanding and nourish it wisely. That way, you can continue to enjoy a future that's clear-headed, powerful, and full of precious moments. Now, I'd love to hear from you. Take a moment to reflect and share one thing you've learned that you're going to implement in your own life. Let's encourage and support each other as we move forward with this newfound awareness. If you found this video helpful, make sure to leave a comment below. And if you want more videos like this, don't forget to subscribe to BioLustra, like and share with your family and friends. Your support means the world to us. Stay connected, and here's to living life to the fullest on your terms.